would like to hear from you. All right, good evening. This is the meeting of the town of Plainfield Select Board. My name is Jim Bolts. I'm the chair. With me is Tim Davis. He's a member of the board as well. The other board member, Riley Carlson, resigned today in the middle of the day. And so we wanted me to relay that to all of you. And I'd also like to make a couple of announcements. I guess. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
None for me.
Okay. I don't think I have any either.
Oh, we maybe wanted to approve
Betsy
for the
But we want to add in an appointment, which I guess we could do under the near the bottom of the agenda, to appoint Betsy Siegler to the Center for Vermont Solid Waste Management District as our representative or something like that.
Should say in that first paragraph. The typo. To sit on a board or something.
Appoint representative to sit on a board of supervisors. So we need to, Betsy Siegler has agreed to do that. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, she's actually knows a lot about that. She was on it before.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, she was.
All right, so we'll do that at the end.
Do we have a representative to the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission? It used to be Bram.
I don't know.
It's probably it was Paula Emery.
Oh yeah, it was somebody.
I think I don't know if she's still doing it.
Yeah, I think we have somebody, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, if she doesn't do it, I would volunteer to do that.
Okay, well, we can look into that.
Yep.
All right, and as far as announcements, I guess we did that already. There was another announcement, which is Tim Davis has agreed to run for to stay on the select board for a 2-year term. He's not on the ballot. I would appreciate if everyone would write his name in so that we can have at least 2 members on the board. I'm not up for re-election, so I'll be staying on.
May I make an addition to that?
Yeah.
I announced publicly on Front Porch Forum, which you seem to be aware of, Tim, that also Patty Gemelli is running for select board, and she has asked for a write-in, so I could probably do something similar to upgrade your visibility if you want.
Front Porch Forum.
That would be fine with me.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Plainfield people. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to encourage people to write in because it's important.
Right.
Yeah, have enough people to appoint the rest.
We need at least 2 board members, and it'd be great if we could have 3. Any other announcements? Seems I think we got that covered. Any public comment?
I saw somebody typed in. We don't have anyone sitting by the computer, so if you have comments, maybe raise your hand and
Yeah, we don't have any way
speak to the room because we won't know if you're putting messages in there. But I happened to see it when it popped up and it asked what term to write me in for, and I think mine would be the 2-year term on the ballot.
Right.
And Patty Gemelli for the 3-year term.
Yeah.
Patty Gemelli for the 3-year term. Okay. Yeah, so we don't have any way to monitor the chat in the on the Zoom call. So if you want to speak to us, you need to raise your hand and appear live. Is Michael Bingham on the I don't see him, but he could be on the phone.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on.
Is that Michael?
Yeah, I'm on.
Greg, can you speak up? Because we're having trouble hearing you.
Yep, yeah, I'm on.
Okay, great. You ready to do your road foreman report?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I guess I didn't finish with that. All right, okay, go ahead, Michael.
So I received an email from Matt Wagner, who lives at Rob Bridges' house there on Middle Road in front of 1066 Middle Road, with their concerns about the continued mud hole that keeps appearing every year in front of their house. They're proposing to us that they'd like us to lower the road about 1.5 to 2 feet so that the traveled lane is about the same as what it was a couple of decades ago. It would be a lot of material to haul away, and we would have to rebuild the road up. I think it would be pretty costly to do this.
Yeah, this came up a couple years ago when I thought the estimate for redoing the road so that they wanted to actually be the level of their driveway essentially, is what that's what I understood. And I thought it was in their second neighborhood, like $60,000 to actually build a road section at that time, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was kind of estimating it to be closer to $100,000 to make it last and not get muddy.
Okay, yeah. So you're not recommending we do that then? I take it.
I mean, I'd like to help them out in some way, but I don't foresee spending $100,000 our entire budget on one stretch of road, and when we still have 40 other miles of road that we need to maintain as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I have a question. I'm wondering if the issue of the road being, I'm not familiar with the property, so in your opinion, is the issue of the road being built up over the years and their driveway not being built up over the years, is that the problem? So like if when you get around to doing the cleaning out the ditches on the side of the road and could dump fill over there, so would that help at all, do you think? Is that something that we could think of as a compromise to help the resident, but also not cost $100,000? Or would that just be a waste of everyone's time?
I can propose that to them, but I really don't believe that they want to, because if the road keeps going any higher, it's probably going to be higher than the basement in their house.
Yeah, their house and their driveway is lower than the road, and it's close to the road, so it's a really tough situation for them, I understand. But I don't know that there's any kind of an easy solution up there.
It definitely is
Yeah.
one of the worst spots around town for mud in mud season. That is one stretch that gets really bad compared to other spots. Lloyd Farnham kind of gave me some insight. He thinks that I should use some different gravel from Northeast Material, which is cleaner. It doesn't have as much dirt in it as the gravel does from Bickford's. But I still think the mud's going to work its way up through the top if you don't dig it down and redo it the proper way. So I think it's just going to be an ongoing issue unless it's done the correct way.
Okay, anything else for the road report?
The only other thing I wanted to bring up is we need to start thinking about getting this 1-ton replaced that we're going to replace for this year, but we ended up not doing it because we didn't have funds. There's about a 12 to an 18-month turnaround time to order a truck and get it back and get equipment for it to be able to put on for us to use it, which that would put us into next spring sometime. And this truck we have now, we had to put a lot of work into it to be able to get it through this winter. And when I had it inspected, they told me that it was probably not going to be able to pass again next year due to being extremely rusty.
When did you need a decision on ordering a new truck?
Sooner than later. Like I said, when we order one, it's going to take about 12 to 18 months to be able to get the truck and get the equipment ordered and get them to install it so that we can get it back here to be able to start using it. I need to get some updated prices on them. I got some probably 3 or 4 months ago, but those prices I'm sure have all expired by now.
So you need to send those around to us and ask to be put on a future agenda so we can review the whole thing.
It sounds like it would have to go on the budget that we're trying to finalize tonight, unfortunately.
Well, it's 18 months, so it would come into it wouldn't even be in time for next winter.
If we wait till next year.
It would be in a future budget number. It's not gonna be in the.
Yeah, but that would put it at like 24, 36 months from now it would get.
But in order for us to order it, we have to see the documentation. So if you want to send us that information that you have and what your recommendation is, we'll talk about it at a future meeting.
Okay, well, I can do that. I just got to get some updated prices because, like I said, the prices that I had when I proposed it back in, I think it was November sometime, or those are probably all expired prices by now, I would assume, because they're usually only good for 30 days.
Okay, well, anyway, see what you can do and then get it, send it to us and we'll put it on a future agenda.
Yeah, Mike, just 2 things. One, later on in the meeting, and I don't think you'll be in attendance, they're considering reappointing the constable. And I know that there were some issues that you had regarding the policing before the storms. Are you comfortable with that? Or do you have opinion either way?
I mean, we kind of got to do what we got to do. We got to plow around the cars that park on the road. I mean, it's inconvenient for us. We can't fully clear the road when these
Well,
cars.
I'm saying
keep
that
parking on.
it sounded like he dropped the ball.
No, there was confusion about what his assignment was and what he was qualified to be paid. What activities of his he would be paid for, and he didn't think that this was in the scope of what he was supposed to be doing.
I see.
And that he would get paid. I think we've worked that out. So I'm hoping that this won't be a problem, but we can check with him going forward, at a future meeting. I think we should reappoint him since we don't have anybody else applying. And then we can talk about.
I just
this
saying,
issue.
that's saying, and also, Michael, when you include the price of the truck, there was some issues with the trade-in on the last truck, and I think we could have done a bit better in terms of what we got for it. Do you have any color on if this one would fetch a trade-in price?
I don't have a trade-in price. No, I don't.
Okay.
Were you thinking of when you negotiate for the new truck, were you assuming you were gonna try to trade in the old one?
We can try and trade it in, but I don't think they're going to give us much for it with the frame being bent on it. I mean, I'm surprised that it passed inspection this year. They were really looking at it.
Okay,
I mean, it's really not safe to be running either, but we don't have a choice.
okay. All right, well, maybe we could sell it in a private sale or something.
We could. I don't know if we know where to list it, or I'm sure someone would buy it, but not. Like I said, I don't really.
I'll take it for free, I guess.
I've done this. I know how to deal with it.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'll deal with it.
Works for me.
Right, so anyway, that'll be part of the discussion about buying a new truck, what we're gonna do with the old one, so we'll take it up in the future. Anything else for the road report?
Nope, not that I had, unless you guys had something.
I got an email about that mud on the sidewalk by the Outer Spice, maybe. Did you get that?
I did, yep. Our equipment's too large to get up on the sidewalk to be able to scrape it and do a good job, and being right on the edge of Route 2, we'd have to hire out some traffic control, because there's only 3 of us. So there'd be someone getting in and out of the equipment to shovel the access into the loader bucket, and we'd have the other 2 guys doing traffic control. So it really wouldn't be really feasible for us right now, and we're kind of busy trying to get the snow pushed back and keep the roads drying out so that they don't get muddy, hopefully.
So we should seek an estimate from a private contractor if we're planning on doing something about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on doing it when we hired out for street sweeping, which we usually do in the beginning of May sometime, but that's a couple months away.
Right.
You just meant something weird, sorry, I just gotta check it here.
I don't think he's there.
Yeah, everything dropped.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, there we go.
Is everybody still there?
Are you there, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, we had a problem, we thought the screen went blank, we thought we lost everybody, but it was something else.
Sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a comment. Michael Bonesy here. I just wanted to let everybody know that we got informed about, I think it was a $69 million fund that came into the state, and we were notified last week that Plainfield would be eligible. So I passed that along to Michael, and he's going to be working with Alice Merrill to potentially find road projects that still remain undone since the flooding. So it's just an extra little boost that will help us through this hard time for now.
Yeah, I could imagine there's a small machine at like Sunbelt Rental or something that somebody could operate and clear it out in a day or 2, if we could find someone to do that, but we can talk about it when we have a better idea.
It's the side of the road along Route 2.
I think it's the sidewalk.
The sidewalk.
Yeah.
And that belongs to the town, not the state.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, well, we'll try to figure out a way to deal with that. If you have any ideas, Michael, let us know.
Okay. I mean, the only idea I have would be to hire a small contractor with a small skid steer that's not taking up the road, and they can, you know, do the work without having traffic control and being completely off the road and not causing a hazard to passerbyers.
Yeah, Okay, maybe the guy who does our snow plowing on the sidewalks will be interested in doing that.
Yeah, that sounds like something
We could
that
ask
probably be
him,
up his alley.
Okay. All right, is that it for our road foreman's report?
Yep, I believe so.
Okay, is Greg White on by any chance? For the floor on the fire station, I don't see his name up there and I'm not hearing him. Should we move on to the next? item?
If anybody here speaks to him regularly, I've been trying to email him about this firehouse floor. I think that my emails keep going to his spam or something, but. I know that when he came in to talk about the budgets, he did mention that, and I could have sworn we included money, or they said they already had the money to do it. And all he might need is us to approve it, but he needs to talk to us, I guess, and let us know if that's the case. Because if the money's there, we can just approve it. Like, for instance, we could have tonight, and then that project could get started, because I don't think letting the firehouse sink into the ground is an option.
Right,
Really, so
yeah, so hopefully.
someone get a message to him,
I
please.
can send you his
Thank you.
contact.
That'll be great.
That'd be great, thanks. All right, we're done with the road farm report and the fire station then, I guess. Discussion of Plainfield municipal office technology and infrastructure needs. Is Gary Smith here? That's you. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Yep, nope, that's,
I thought that might be who you are. So I
Yeah.
know we met before. My
Yeah.
apologies there.
yeah, well, thank you for adding this to the agenda and it's kind of interesting because Robin had concurrently with my personal assessment, because I've been a lister for approaching 3 years now, and she had reached out to a Vermont firm, RB Technologies,
Okay.
which I think is a local firm. And they did an assessment and they kind of basically confirmed what I thought.
So one thing I'd like to just interrupt you for a second, which is Robin's term is ending a week from tomorrow. And
Yeah,
we're gonna have a new clerk.
yes,
So
understand.
I'd rather have this discussion with the new clerk at a future board meeting if it could wait, instead of going through it now, but if that's not a good idea.
Okay, well, the thing that I would just say is, well, yeah, but I may not,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
you're-
kind of like volunteering.
Oh, right, that's right.
Robin was like, oh, can you come speak, because
Sure.
be the kind of handoff, but
All right, yeah, I guess, why don't you go ahead and it'll be in the minutes and we can refer to your recommendations. In
Yeah,
the future,
sure,
You won't have to
sure.
go back. That sounds good.
I mean, I guess my, well. My assumptions before I read the report, and I shared with you the executive summary, and I know Robin has that report, and I think it should
Okay.
be shared with her, but is that you have some immediate needs. And not to, you don't want too many things to be public record, or they should be public record, but there, this office, this town is wide open to some significant issues.
Yeah.
Whether it's ransom, whether it's a DR, disaster recovery need. You have operating systems that are not supported, you have software that is not supported. We have a townwide reappraisal that's coming forward, and I mean, the computer that the listers use, I would have thrown it in e-waste.
Yeah,
3 years, 5 years ago.
okay.
And, you know, I try to print something, the screen goes blank, boom, doesn't work. Have to reboot the computer, this takes about 5 to 10 minutes. You have a assistant clerk that, or Carol, I'm gonna use her name, I don't know what her right title is.
Assistant clerk.
She can't do components of her job. And in today's world, people, productivity, workflow matters.
Yeah,
And you're spending a lot of money unnecessarily because people can't get the job right. Citizens aren't serviced properly, and I think that needs to be addressed. I volunteered to kind of carry the torch with this in this transition, but if somebody wants to take over, that would be, I wouldn't mind, but
Okay.
and working with Robin, she said, "Oh, our electrician isn't available," but anyway, because we have to do some network wiring to get this work underway.
Okay,
But if we wait till a new clerk treasurer comes along and then we bring it to select board meeting, 6 months is gonna go by, and you know what? As a lister, I'm just being honest, as a lister, I would be glad to just step aside and let someone else step forward and be a lister, because I'm not gonna put up with that kind of technology.
Yeah. My question for you is, are you saying basically we should hire this firm, RB, whatever, to come and do this thing that they quoted us, a really large, or that you think it's manageable in-house if we
Well,
have the funds for the equipment?
what I've learned is there was a person that used to do network work for us, but he has passed away
Mhm.
and has never been replaced. So
Yeah, right.
I don't know who would do that work.
So then it would have to be the right contract.
I think, and I listened to the presentation by RB, I think they have the ability to do that. I don't know that kind of resource.
Yeah, I read their report and I thought it was really comprehensive and really well done, and they went through everything,
Yeah.
but I also thought it was really expensive.
Yeah.
You know, which makes sense, but.
I
Well,
have a question at this point.
Sure.
If RB has spelled out the scope of the problem and suggested some remedies for the problem, can we at least publicly ask for volunteers with the skills to step forward and help, or perhaps that other gentleman did, so that we can potentially do part of the work ourselves? For instance, if physical computers need to be replaced with other computers, we don't need to hire somebody to do that if it just is a matter of understanding what the choices are and ordering it and having it put in place.
What's the bottom line cost for if?
To be honest, I haven't been given.
I thought I saw $20,000 or so, but I can try to look at my email.
Right, no, that's fine. Just in terms of the ballpark, it seems to me that this isn't, and I'm probably gonna be the new town clerk, treasurer for some of the other candidates. This is an absolute top priority.
Yeah, this is a multi-year problem, and if, to your question about, sure, volunteers could step forward to do parts of this, but in my experience, volunteers disappear, and some of this stuff, it needs to be bulletproof and continually managed over a period of time by a consistent resource. That would be.
Well, then my follow-up question to you, Gary, would be, many towns and many organizations, and I know this from having done the same thing myself within a nonprofit organization, hire an IT manager. Somebody who comes in at a prearranged intervals, checks to make sure anything software updates or patches need to be done. And if we could find somebody to fit that description and perhaps find budget money to hire such a person, then they could potentially supervise this process.
Do you know if ARPA funds would qualify? Would we be able to use ARPA funds for this?
It might be, I can answer for that. It actually, Keith Coven has said yes, that it might be. Well, it's not just ARPA, but it's also the post-flood relief. There are funds to assist with administrative infrastructure.
right, so Graham, I just sent you a copy of that report.
Great, thanks. Super.
And I would say to the whole thing, I mean, yeah, in one fell swoop, well, first of all, there's a lot of catch up and cleanup that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's gonna cost some money, and I don't know what component of that $20,000 number you mentioned. But I think this can be a multi-year solution. So, maybe, so I think, and you're,
But
talking a lot about budgets, but you
the
might want to.
reappraisal needs to be done.
Oh, that ship is underway.
Right, no, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
and part of the challenge, as I understand it, is that the computers are not suitable for some of that work.
Computers, software, and.
So in other words, we might not be able to wait.
That's the thing.
Well, Sandy might be, I know Kaylee's on board, she's the new lister for the town, but I think Sandy would be, I mean, she's
Sandy
a
Ross.
little more, Sandy Ross,
Yeah,
who's she's the boss lister.
Right,
But she might put up with it. I personally
Okay,
don't even wanna.
all right, I guess we could ask
do
her.
that computer.
Can I just
Anyway,
add something really quickly?
Yeah.
Sorry, this is Erica. And I don't know who I would be saying this to exactly, but my understanding is best practice for municipalities is to have all documents and archives in a backup drive that is offline. So this is an additional drive, but it needs to be offline, which is the only surefire way of protecting documents from attack and ransom and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I don't know if that's mentioned in the report or not, but that's a good point.
They do, in the meeting, they talked about disaster recovery and ransom. And
Okay, so they did.
the good news is there's a solution in the plan that really, in the big scheme of things, is not that costly for a small town like.
Okay, all right, great, thanks.
Well, and I have one last comment, well, maybe not the last comment that would be made, but I also could say that in emergency management, which is what my job is, cybercrime and computer security also are one of our concerns, and we are going to have in the next 2 months a computer security expert presenting to the town some of the more obvious hazards and ways to address it at the small town level. So I share your concerns, and we have already been looking at also think that it needs to be remedied. So I support that.
So I finally found the invoice or the proposal from RB Technologies here with all the numbers. And they are talking about overhauling the whole office suite basically, and managing it, like being on call, taking care of what
So
they
we're
go
not
down,
going
they come
contract
fix it.
for management.
Yeah, there's an ongoing portion, but like the upfront, just to get everything up to where it should be is $21,264. And then monthly services are $1,000 for
Okay.
data management.
Okay, so we'll have to take a look at it.
Jim, can you send that to me, the report?
Yeah, sure.
But, and I would add, in their report, one component of that they say they don't do is the actual cabling of the Cat 6.
Oh, we'd have to get, that would probably be another couple of grand at least.
Maybe, I don't think it would be quite that much.
Is it Ethernet throughout the whole building, basically? Anything else number?
It is, there's Cat 5 wiring in place that needs to be upgraded to support that
Yes.
plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Jim, it's Bob
Yeah.
Fancher. If I was an IT director for 15 years before I retired, so if I can offer any help you guys want, review the report or anything else that I can do, just let me know. I'd be glad to help.
Okay, I'll send you a copy of the report.
Yes, please.
And then you
Thank
take
you
a
very
look.
much. Okay.
Great, thanks, Bob. I appreciate your stepping forward.
Because this is mostly, it may as well be in Mandarin to me, most of this technology stuff.
It's
I know
possible.
that we need new stuff, but it's like, do we need the best, most expensive brand of everything? Or?
Well, is it possible to divide the project proposal into the upgrade and the support, and perhaps Bob could more or less expensively be available to support something like that?
We can find out.
Yeah, once he
Let's
reviews
take
it,
a look at it.
let us know what you think.
He's the guy, Bob is the person who does the website for us, so he's able to handle work on this, that'd be great. All right, anything else on the technology infrastructure needs topic?
Just sooner than later.
Yeah, okay.
Is there, it sounds like right off the bat, the computers are all junk. Would getting the computers, updated computers, be helpful right away? Or would they just not even work with all the old infrastructure?
Well, part of their recommendation is like an Office 365 suite, which puts documents into the cloud for, anyway, and that needs some of that network infrastructure stuff done. But
Yeah.
again, somebody that really knows that on the ground technology stuff would be more appropriate to assess
Okay.
that.
All right, thanks.
And I believe, if I have it right, that Carol's computer and the Lister computer are the biggest boat anchors. Robin's computer and Kristen's computer, I think, are workable at the moment.
Okay,
And then I don't know, there's a public access Chromebook. And I don't even know if that's functional or what, but, that should be part of the picture.
Okay, all right, great. Thanks. We're going to move on to the next topic, if that's all right, thanks, folks. Discuss request for waiver of town hall opera house fee for youth dance. Do we
Excuse
have
me.
any- Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you guys were gonna be a little farther behind, but this is Greg Light here. Do you have a minute for me?
Is it on the topic I just announced?
No, if you want to go back to the firehouse, I
Oh,
will.
Greg Light, sorry, I misheard your name. Yeah, sure, go ahead, Greg.
I just wanted to, I checked with the town clerks the other day and apparently we have $15,000 in our building fund. And this is in regards to stabilizing the floor in the fire station, which is sinking some. And I think I forwarded you guys all of the quote that we got from Northern Basement Systems,
Yeah,
where they drill underneath the floor and they fill it full of foam. It doesn't fix it, but it keeps it from getting worse. And I
I'm
would-
familiar with that procedure. I've seen it done back when I was in construction. And
so you're right, are you asking us to approve this tonight? Doing
Yeah.
this?
yeah,
Yeah.
so we
I move that we approve the estimate from Northern Basements to stabilize the firehouse slab.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay,
You're all set?
you guys will have to sign that. There's a whole packet in there. You'll have to sign it for the town, giving them permission and everything to start the project.
All right,
Okay.
you wanna, can you send an email to Carol Smith, the assistant clerk, and Kristen, and let them know that we need to do that, and they can pull it out and get it ready?
I will do that.
I can email.
Wait, never mind,
Yeah, I got it.
we'll take care of it. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Thank you, sir. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, now we're up to discuss request for waiver of town hall opera house. Is that you, Keith?
Yeah, I was invited to the meeting, yes.
Why don't you go ahead?
Oh, I don't know anything about who's asking for it. I'm just here
Oh,
to.
that's me.
Town hall.
Oh, okay, yes, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Ekaterina. And I sent an email a week ago to the town clerk asking if I could have like an hour or two at the opera house for like a group with youth people that are from like 13 to 19 to like come and dance together like as a community project, so like people could know each other from like places like they don't know, and then they come and talk to each other and dance, because like today in like online a lot of people do that, and I was like maybe people want to do that in person with other people. So yeah,
You want to do this one time, or you want this to be a regular recurring event?
I mean, if there are enough people that show up, I would definitely want to do this more than once, and maybe somehow I could like, my plan was like at some point when there's like a way to like actually make money from like performing, I could like rent it for money, but as of now I don't like have that kind of, so
Okay, so you want a waiver of the fee is what you're asking for.
yes.
I don't know, Keith, do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, no, I think that's great if it's a local community thing. We would have to make sure that either you guys do the cleaning or you pay for the cleaning afterwards. And
We
also,
can
I think,
definitely do the cleaning.
okay, so I do think that there still should be the security deposit, which they get back if there's no problem. So I think we should do that with anybody unless it's actually town meeting or something like that. But so I think the security deposit should still be in place, which you would get back as long as there was no damage and the cleaning was done. That would be my take on that. And also, we'd have to check the calendar and make sure the date is available. I don't know if you've looked at the date that you're talking about.
How much is security deposit?
I was looking for like for you guys allowing me, but if it's a yes, then I'll work on like getting a date, time, and place together.
Okay. And how many people do you expect for an event like this?
Probably 15 or so or less.
Okay.
Keith, how much is the security deposit?
Well, it's $150. which people get back, if there's no damage and it's been cleaned and everything, so.
Okay.
And that would be 150 for each event, so each time you wanted to use it, you put out the security deposit and then you get it back after the use.
I think if people do, if they schedule ongoing things, we just keep one security deposit check. And then when they're
Okay.
done, we either give it back to them or tear it up. So if they're planning on doing this as a regular thing, it could just be, you know, a one-shot thing, or we could just do it when they come in for the first time and see what happens.
Is $150 in your budget, Katerina? Katerina, am I saying it wrong?
That's correct. I suppose.
I mean, it'd be only if something happens, just like with an apartment, if there's damage.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't that.
We have officially
Be
approved it?
very careful.
Well, then it turns out they're not waiving the fee, right? So.
Well, no, there would be a fee on top of the security
Oh,
deposit.
that's the.
Normally rental, that's what you'd be waiving is the rental fee, which normally would be $20 an hour. It's a $40 minimum.
All right, you okay with us waiving the fee, Keith?
Sure. I mean, I think as long as it's a local community thing, and
That's like what this entire thing was based on for me, because I was just like, I think it's a good idea for people to get together. So
Okay. All right, great.
I move that we waive the fee for the Town Hall Opera House Youth Dance Group.
Is that what
Other than the security deposit.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does that help you? Is that all you need, Katerina?
yes, thank you, sir.
yeah, so just
Now there was,
reach out
there
to
was
us, schedule the time, and I'll make sure it gets
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, can you guys communicate
Do I
between
have
each other?
your email? Who would I email about that?
Just go to the plainfieldarts.org website, and that's
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
and the rental application will be right on there, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see the application.
Thank you so much.
all right. So on the chat, a person asked the question about whether we discussed the new road already, and the answer is yes, we did discuss it already. And
I'm sorry.
yeah, and so they probably want to know and there was no resolution we just talked about.
I was gonna ask Keith to stay online, Keith, could you just hang out for the part of my report that has to do with the town hall?
Sure.
Okay, great.
So what we're up to is, we're up to the eclipse, so that's you, Michael.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually have less to report than I thought.
Okay,
So yeah, I mean, on that in particular, what I mostly want to do is put this out to the public, not just particularly to the town select board. We are told, and I'm just gonna quote this, that on April the 8th and maybe the day before, that we would expect potentially that we would have extra stress on emergency services, injuries, increased traffic, and maybe even extreme traffic issues. And other considerations could include that vehicles might park their vehicles both legally and illegally, and impact public land during mud season. There may be wildfire risks and more than that. And some Vermont schools are closing early that day to avoid the worst of it. What I would say that the example we have from Oregon, the last main eclipse that occurred, principal eclipse that occurred of this scale, that one road, maybe more than one, but was jammed into a traffic jam 30 miles long. Absolutely still no moving traffic for quite a long time, making it hard for emergency vehicles to go back and forth. So what I wanted to say is, first of all, we're not having any public events for the eclipse in Plainfield. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have a and I'm including Cutler Library is not having an event, and no sponsoring organization has come forward wanting to do an event. So we're not actually doing anything to attract people to Plainfield. Marshfield is having an announced event at the old schoolhouse common.
okay.
And so there will be people transiting to get to that, I presume. What I wanted to say is that if traffic does jam up, or if people are just planning badly, which may be the case if you have folks coming from southern New England for this event, I still recommend that we have that the town rent a couple of portalets for the rec field parking lot. So that if we do have people who've gotten off the road after 2 hours, that there would be a place for them to pee. And I would just make a recommendation that the town authorize renting, well, it's still possible to get them. I'm not even sure if they're available anymore, but to rent one standard portalet and one disabled portalet for the town parking lot at Redfield. And that's, and that we try to find volunteers to basically point people away from trouble. You know, that I will take responsibility for that. And I also intend to have the emergency operations center in the town hall open the entire day. And we should have radio communications up at that point, because that's almost solved, and we definitely have a telephone, so we will be able to help people out if they get into a jam. But I'm also asking the town to be as gracious as possible. It'll be a stress on things, and if you can help somebody else who's gotten lost or needs to, you know, be sent in the right direction, please do that, and hopefully we'll get through it without too much trouble.
Great.
So that's the first part of my report, and if it would involve authorizing the toilets, I think.
Can I just interject? There is currently one porta potty at the rec field now.
Is that a handicapped accessible?
Probably not.
I think that this is my take. I know that, you know, your job is to worry about emergencies. That's what you do, but I just don't see a lot of people transiting through the town of Plainfield. And I think if they're coming through Route 2 and they're going to Marshfield, they're not going to be looking for the rec field, which is kind of tucked away, to go pee in a porta potty when there's maple fields with all the running water and bathrooms there. I think that's going to be a stress on a lot of the businesses along Route 2, perhaps. But I don't know, if we know someone that wants to put some porta potties down there, I just don't see. I just think we're going to put them there and no one's going to use them. Is just.
Well, I mean, I can't predict a thing.
Yeah.
What I know is that it's not so bad when people are coming in, because of the staggering and arriving early, late, and in the middle, and almost at the beginning of the eclipse. It's at the end, when the eclipse is over, everybody leaves at the same time. And that's what happened in Oregon. Everybody got on, you know, the equivalent of Route 2. And then literally traffic doesn't move for a couple of hours between here and St. Johnsbury and Montpelier. People will be getting out of the cars wherever they are, stranded, you know, maybe with kids. And I wanted to look ahead to that possibility. I mean, there's a bathroom in town hall.
Yeah, I just don't see how they end up at the rec fields.
Well, only if we had a volunteer who was like on the street and people were in distress. I mean, I'm just thinking about where.
Yeah, I'm not going to reject your suggestion today, but I'm not willing to approve it today either. So
Yeah.
I want to think about it some more, maybe get some more.
Well, I'll do a little inquiry to find out what the supply of portalets is like.
I did notice, like you were saying, I did a little research on this, and the hotels are all booked.
Oh, yeah.
But from Montpelier north, basically, once you start going a little southern than that, there are still openings at hotels, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be crazy backed up, but like St. Albans, forget about it and all that stuff.
Well, let me just quickly add to that, that when we talk about the people that have thought far enough ahead to get a hotel room, they were all being booked about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and for $500 a night or something. But the people I'm worried about are not them. That's not actually the bulk of the visitors. But we're talking about people within driving distances in Hartford and Boston and Nashville or whatever, who decide their kids should see the eclipse and just hop in their car and keep coming. And that's where the 80,000 to 200,000 extra people come in. And we don't know if they even have the skill to avoid a muddy side of the road. You know, they might just drive their car and get mired in the field. So
Can you speak a little bit about, I looked on the map and we seem to be on the edge.
Where it comes.
well, that's one of the reasons I'm worried, actually.
No, and I just was wondering, like, the eclipse lasts like a minute and a half where we are, and then, but in the other spots, it's like 5 minutes or
Yeah,
something.
it goes up to 3.5. It goes up to 3.5 at the max. And you can go all the way up to the Canadian border and see it. But what I know is that people don't plan. I mean, just in terms of social psychology, people who don't plan say, where's the closest place that we could see the whole eclipse? So even if it's for 30 seconds or for a minute, we're actually in the bottom of that available area. And that's what makes me think that there might be a lot of people showing up who aren't really well prepared. And so the people who know astronomy and people who care to actually set up a telescope or a camera or whatever and have the equipment, they'll be here, they'll know where they wanna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be relaxed, they'll be in place. It's these other folks that I don't know about. Yeah, so
Something to think about, we'll check into the cost of those porta potties.
Okay. And I will find out if they're even available still, because that's the other thing is that when you have a big event that's statewide, or at least a half of the state, that they will possibly all be booked, in which case it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So that was half of what I wanted to say. The other is that when Alice and I were working on the, Alice Merrill, the grants manager, we're looking at what it would mean to get a generator for town hall. That's what stands between us having a town shelter or not, is having a generator. So we had meetings, we wrote a grant together. It was submitted at the end of January and we were turned down. In other words, Homeland Security turned down our grant request. We could have reapplied because their reason for turning it down was that it's a historic preservation building and they were concerned that a generator would interfere with the appearance. Unfortunately, they didn't know that we already had that approval letter in hand because they didn't ask for it in their application. So if they had said that, we would have included it, we would have probably gotten the money. But the good thing is that Vermont Community Foundation met with us about that same week that we put the application in on January 30th. And we sat down with them and they said, what do you need? And say, well, we hope we get the money for the generator. We may not. And they've ended up offering the money.
Okay.
So we've actually been offered the $20,000 to $25,000 that it will cost to put a generator in. So we're looking at what would be a spring timeline. We have two contractors who are going to be bidding for this. We already have an approximate idea of what it will cost. And we'll make a recommendation for approval and the money will be available. One thing that goes with this is that the old generator that's in front of the town hall needs to be disposed of. And I've raised it with Jonathan, Matthew, and with Greg Blake that it be moved to the fire station so they have a proper generator at the fire station. And so that may be a double bonus. But we'll be coming back to you and after we have the site visits from the contractors.
Okay.
And we'll also at the same time be ordering finally a good sign for the front of the town hall like there is in front of the municipal office, matching style, matching lettering and everything. And it will go with a generator. It presently is. So
is there a cost to the town for any of this?
there will be a cost to the town for the sign, yeah.
Oh, the sign, I mean, what about the generator?
But that will be in the, there won't be any cost to the town for the generator and the allied services that come with that.
Michael, is there also, do we need a new tank or is that covered?
There is the cost of re-channeling the pipe that would feed the generator in its new location is in the grant.
Right.
But the 500-gallon propane tank that is buried in the front of town hall is sufficient for both the town hall heating and for the generator.
Excellent.
And everything that we're going to do has already been carefully thought through from the point of view of where will the pipe go and how will we avoid impacting or changing the outside appearance of the building. And for your information, the generator will actually be toward the rear of the building on the Harvey Hill side. There is a dropped area where drainage gravel is, and it will be put back there. So you actually won't see it. There will be a small cost to the town of putting up a storm fence along that back corner so that when the road is plowed, the snow is not dumped on top of the generator.
And Keith, you're okay with this? Keith Swan?
Yeah,
That's right.
meeting with Mike. Yeah, I think the location is great and Preservation Trust okayed the location as well.
No, Michael was talking about a fence, and I know that you're the property next door, and I just want to make sure that's not going to be an issue.
I think it's the fence we talked about, Keith.
Yeah, as long as there's not towers and searchlights on the fence, we're okay.
No razor wire.
And no video recording.
It's a short fence, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we're talking about a 3-foot high fence that would be constructed from wood, and they said it cannot be metal, it has to be wood. So
Great.
anything else, Keith?
No, we probably have to do a zoning permit for that, don't we, with DRB?
Well, that was one of the questions from Alice Merrill is whether we need a building permit. And that rather than a zoning permit, because there's already a generator there, but to whether or not we're altering the exterior of the building or not, and whether or not that requires a zoning permit is the next question to be coming up. And I don't know if,
Karen.
but I think Karen will answer that question.
Yeah, she will. Yeah, absolutely. Right. All right, anything else on that? Okay,
Thank you.
anything else for you?
That's it.
Michael, okay, good, thank you. All right, shall next on the agenda is sign the letter requested by the Plainfield Cooperative Rural Economic Development Initiative, Vermont Housing Conservation Board. And so we need a motion approving that, right?
Yeah, I move that we approve the letter from the,
Yeah, this one. To the.
to the Rural Economic Development Initiative, the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board, regarding the Plainfields co-op.
Expressing support for the relocation expansion of the Plainfield Co-op. To the side of the Plainfield Hardware and General Store. So, you made that motion?
I make that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
I'm gonna say aye, but I'm also gonna say I'm not super in favor of the relocation of the co-op, but I don't want to interfere with them receiving any funds that they may need to keep in operation. I would love to keep them in the village, serving our community and the people that walk to the store. If that's something that can come up later and we can keep some kind of satellite there or something, I would be interested in talking to anyone who would want to help with that effort, and maybe putting together funds even or something.
Okay.
But
I also, right now, we're just voting on sending the letter in support.
yeah, I just
And
wanted to be.
I'm in favor of sending a letter in support as well. I share Tim's concerns about losing the co-op in the town, but I know that the co-op has looked at all of this and is trying to do the best thing that works for everybody. So I'm going to sign the letter. Okay.
Quick question, Jim, about the writing thing we discussed earlier. We got a photograph of Patty Janelli. Is it okay if Graham takes a photo of you that we could use?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No problem.
You probably don't.
All right. So the next item is discuss the budget for the 24-25 fiscal year. There's a copy of it here. Now the select board has gone through this with the clerk. This budget was developed over a number of series of meetings, the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I don't know. Yes.
There were two areas, and I did not attend any of the meetings, and obviously there's a lot of work gone into this.
Right.
And I don't want to change anything, but I was wondering if the discussion of two items that I thought might come up. One would be, because we're spending the federal funds, that is going to mandate an audit, which is between like 25 and 30. I don't know if that's been covered, but that's something.
We had some discussions about.
Yeah, we discussed it, and it sounded like because it was mandated for the next year that we would budget it into the
So in
next.
other words, it's not required. We don't have to have it immediately.
No, I think it's after.
Yeah.
I think my understanding. I was really new to this situation now, but that's what I see.
I mean, I'm not changing anything. I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that we don't get.
Can we approve this and amend it in the future meeting if we
Well,
need to?
this thing is approved, once we approve this, doesn't go to the.
It goes to the town, but we can make amendments to it after we review it. We need to.
We didn't have it figured out when that meeting is gonna be.
I know.
So
Yeah.
We'll probably have another opportunity.
Yeah.
Another area that, was of concern was there might be some legal costs associated with Bean Road.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's been, perhaps there's a revenue source if we get aggressive in terms of fines, but that's another area. I don't know how much we.
Usually, I don't know where it is on here, but there is a line item for legal fees. I'm not sure how much.
Okay, well, we can, going forward.
I was planning to go through the budget tonight line by line.
If we need to add legal fees, we can approve that separate.
Why don't you just approve what's there, and we'll probably have time depending on.
I move that we approve the budget as written and from the meetings that we've had already.
And submitted by the clerk's office. On the spreadsheet that I have.
Jim, you
All
just
the
said
work
this,
as well.
but you just.
I don't know if I have the electronic, but I do.
But just tell Carol.
Yeah,
Or.
okay,
Rob.
yeah.
This one I can.
Yeah, I might have.
Great.
All right, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye. Okay. Okay, we did the budget. Warrant and fleet permits.
I move that this drives the young.
Hang on, there's, the warrant. Accounts payable, wanna do that one? Move.
I move that we approve accounts payable for 2/16/24.
Okay, all in favor?
I move, did you?
All in favor, aye, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Aye, so it's approved, it's unanimous.
I move that we approve payroll dated 2/15/24 and 2/22/24.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that was approved. And the fleet permits, I can read, you wanna read them off?
I move that we approve the fleet permits as read.
You should just read it.
Bethel Mills. Champlain Construction. Chevalier Drilling Company, Curtis Lumber Company. Gillespie Fuels, Irving Oil Terminals, McCullough Crushing, NA Monash Incorporated. Structures, RBR. Toronto Oil.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, so that's approved. Everything's approved. Approval of draft minutes from February 12th to the.
I move that we approve the draft minutes from 2/12/24 and 2/15/24.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, those are approved. I think there's only one line.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Hang on a
What?
second.
Not yet, almost.
Just wanted to check to see if Dan being here meant that he had anything to contribute or ask.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just here.
Yeah.
All
Oh, are
right,
you the auditor?
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. I haven't much yet. I really appreciate it. Stepping up, we weren't until mine.
yeah,
Now I move that we adjourn.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you.
No, I was just running late from work, so I
Yeah.
had to get earlier, but.
That's all right.
Probably. Here.
Yeah.
Just hit ends.
Did the instructions say how to shut it off?
Well, if you hit end, it'll end.
Yeah,
the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Do I have to separately end the recording? No.
No, it'll end the